raising concerns that troops are likely to launch a new ground assault into the Gaza.
This is my 2016 Mustang GT. It's got the performance pack. It is a base car, so it's the 300A equipment group or whatever. I get my cute little Texas Instruments calculator screen right there for my infotainment. And I don't get my color. Even though the performance pack gauges, every single one of them, whether your car is a base or a premium, they're wired to change color. The actual instrument cluster does not have the my color option. So I can't do that. Made me a little sad. Otherwise, my car has a lot of work done to it. Well, I guess we can start off with the performance stuff. It's got a PMAS intake, ported Gen 3 intake manifold with the MMR IMRC lockouts, Ford Performance LU47/47-pound injectors in it, Kooks 1 7/8 catless long tube headers, Borla S Type catback. So the car's really fucking loud when you're into it, but as you can tell, it's idling right now and it's really not that bad. That's performance stuff. My car is tuned through Rob Shoemaker on 93. I could have kept the stock fuel injectors since I'm only on 93, but I thought maybe I would retune on the 85. I just haven't done it because I'm actually going to end up boosting the car within the next year or so. I also have an MGW, and it's nighttime, but I have an MGW X Spec shifter. I've got Steeda stainless braided clutch lines. I have a Vengeance Stage 2 clutch, the whole kit, lightweight flywheel, all that shit. DSS one-piece aluminum drive shaft. I've got a set of Apex forged VS5RS wheels, 19x10 up front, 19x11 on the rear. The front tire setup is a 285/35, I think, 19. And then a 305/35/19 in the rear. Michelin PS4S. Yeah, the car's warmed up a pretty good amount, so we can go for a drive. Yeah, for being catless and having aftermarket, an aftermarket catback and everything like that, it's really not too bad. Or at least not as bad as you would think it is in terms of noise. Obviously, any 5.0 with catless long tube headers is going to be pretty fucking loud. But if you're not into the car, it's pretty tame, if you want to call it that. But I guess what a lot of people do when they review cars is they'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start off on a positive note. Go ahead and roll the windows up so I don't have to scream. The good with the car. Well, I'd say there's a lot of good. There's more good than bad or ugly, for sure. I think one of the biggest things with good is the engine, the 5.0. The 5.0 is so good that Ford has used it for 14 years now and counting. And they will continue to use it at least through the run of the S650 Mustang, which of course came out in 2024, and I imagine it'll continue through past 2030. So by that time, the Coyote will have been out probably 20 years. And all that they've done is they've revised it. And by revisions, it's just oh, we changed the head design, or we added direct and port injection, or we increased the bore and the stroke a little bit to make it a little bit bigger, like they did with the Gen 3, or oh, we're going to change the cylinder walls and stuff like that. But fundamentally, it's still the same engine by design, and that says something. The engine has stayed the same because it works so well, and they don't just put it in their performance cars. It's not just a Mustang engine; it's a fucking truck engine. You know, they put these motors in trucks. All that they do, as far as I know, they change the intake manifold and then they change the intake cam so that they can be a little bit more torquey as opposed to horsepower. But otherwise, it's the same. But yeah, the engine in this car, I think, is like the greatest good. The 5.0 is just a fucking workhorse. It's so good. You can make so much power with it, and it'll do it reliably. I don't like the term bulletproof because nothing is invincible. Anything that's mechanical will fail eventually. But this car, this motor is one of the most quote-unquote bulletproof, like, factory motors ever made. You can quote me on that. Another good, I would say, looks. Granted, that's a very objective take, or is it no, subjective? It's a very subjective take because it's like, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So some people might not find the S550s or Mustangs in general attractive, but I think they're beautiful. I think they're a really good looking car. They're my favorite among the trio, you know, the Mustang, Challenger, Camaro. I think Mustangs are the best. Let's go for number 3 good and have an example of it. So yeah, number 3 good is that the cars are quick. They're quick cars. You know, I have bolt-ons, and this is a Gen 2, which is known for not being the generation to have if you want to stay in A. Boost, these are king daddy. They'll take fucking 15 pounds of boost and they'll just eat it, and they'll give you 1,000 horsepower in return and say, yes, please give me more. This is the generation to boost. That's a different topic. This is just a review. But, you know, for just having bolt-ons being NA in a Gen 2, this car's quick. Like you saw. It's not the fastest fucking car in the world. There's plenty of cars that are quicker than it for sure. But you can't deny it. It's pretty stout, you know? It is not bad, acceleration-wise. So, like, you're getting a pretty good bang for your buck when you get one of these cars. They're just great. They just work. And I would say, yeah, those are the 3 main goods. Is the performance that you get for the money that you spend, the looks, and then the reliability and stuff, and the power plant. So yeah, as for the bad, there are a couple things I can think of. One of the bigger things is just overall quality. Steering wheel buttons are missing. There's a lot of cheap plastic and stuff in the interior. This infotainment is trash. Granted, it's a base model, but, like, you know, this car's still stickered at $39,000, and you get that, you know. So Mustangs can have pretty nice interiors if you opt for, like, the 401A, like the big King Daddy Premium, but you're gonna be spending some fucking money if you do that. So just know that, like, unless you're willing to, you know, dig into your wallet a little bit more, these aren't going to be the nicest interior cars that you sit in. It's not really what they're for, in my opinion. These aren't really meant to be, you know, fucking grand touring cars or anything like that. You know, like an Aston Martin or like a high-end Audi. That's not what these are for. It's a different audience. But yeah, just be prepared for that. If you're thinking, no, I'm going to get a Mustang and it's going to be like a fucking executive cruiser or something like that, no. Go get an Audi or BMW like M car. Don't get this. This is not the car for you if you care about interior. Even, like, I would argue the Camaros are better interior, though their visibility is shit, but that's a different conversation altogether. But yeah, interior quality on these is just very mid. They're not great. I'd say that's a pretty big bad. Another bad, this really depends on who you ask, but if you opt for the manual, you can't get a GT with a Tremec. Ford used to use Tremec in all their Mustangs back like 20 years ago. Starting the S197, they used GetRag, which is like a Chinese company, and so people often joke that they're made of Chinesium and shit. And a lot of people break their MT82. They end up, you know, I guess shifting like a fucking gorilla and smashing their trans and blowing it up. If you watched the pull earlier, you'll see that I still bang the absolute fuck out of gears, and my transmission works just fine. Granted, sure, I've got a different clutch, I've got a different shifter, but even when I was on the stock clutch and shifter, I was banging gears and had no problems. So I think honestly that's a lot of driver error, people blowing their shit up, but it happens frequently enough that you could argue that it's a bad quality of the cars, that the transmission isn't very good. If you get a Camaro SS in a manual, you get the TR3160, which is the same transmission that is in the Shelby GT350s. So yeah, you pay for a Shelby, you pay the Shelby tax, and you get the better trans. But yeah, and the standard GT, you cannot get one. The other transmission, or the other Mustangs that the 3160 is in the S550 Mustang Mach 1. If you get that in a stick, that's a 3160, which ran 2021 to 2023. And then if you get the S650 Dark Horse 2024 plus, they also have a 3160. So yeah, those are the two bads. Is just the interior quality is just mid, and the transmission. But again, like I said, I've been banging gears for 43,000 miles in this car since I've owned it, and it hasn't skipped a beat. So take that with what you will. If you know how to drive stick well, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but if you can drive stick halfway decent, I think you'll be okay, unless you got a lemon. Out the ugly. I have one ugly, and I don't really know if it's actually a super common issue, but I do know that every time I look on a Facebook group that I'm in with these cars, I see another post about it. But I would say the ugly that I have is the AC, and I think it's mainly the first generation S550, meaning the 1517, the Gen 2. The AC's systems they just seem to be shit. I'm always seeing posts about people having an issue with their AC. My AC went out, as if you couldn't already tell by my tone talking about this topic. But my AC system was out at like 36,000 miles, and I didn't even know, because I bought the car with 32, but it was the middle of January of 2022. So I'm not gonna fucking test the AC. I should have, obviously, right? I know in the future to do that. But I didn't test the AC, because I'm like, you know, it's cold. Why am I gonna fucking use the AC right now? But if you're ever getting one of these fucking cars, make sure you test the AC. I don't care if it's 0 degrees outside. Because the AC is not a cheap fix. It's almost always the compressor, and that's quite a job. If you don't do it yourself, you're gonna be paying a shop like $2 grand to do it. Parts and labor, and obviously like $2 grand, that's a decent chunk of change, man. You don't want to be having to spend money like that. So yeah, my AC went out. It was not cool, because this is my only car for 2 summers, and here in Maryland, the summers actually get pretty fucking hot. So I can remember a few times where I'm like driving the car. Of course, I don't have any other option, right? I mean, I can't just not go to work. And it's like 95 degrees. I'm just fucking sweltering. I'm suffering so much. And I just had to fucking deal with it. there wasn't, you know, that was my choice. That was my decision. I was willing to spend, you know, 15, 16, 17 grand on the car, building it for boost and making it fast and modding it and upgrading it and making it mine, and not fixing the AC. So that's my fucking stupid ass fault. But now I have a daily that's got AC and dual zone and even fucking AC seats, which is really fucking nice. But yeah, that's my ugly for the car, at least for the Gen 2. Be on the lookout for AC failures. That seems to be a pretty common issue. But yeah, I would say overall though, I love the car, you know. Especially now with how the market is. It's 2024 right now. Middle of the year 2024. But you can get a loaded Gen 2, you get a performance pack premium Gen 2, all the fucking options, everything. And you can get them clean, good condition, for like upper 20s. And that's a lot of fucking car to have for like 28 grand. You know, getting a lower mile, fully loaded Gen 2, like that's sweet. So, I'd say it's worth it. It's worth it, like every single fucking penny. And yeah, I don't regret my purchase. I think like this is just such an awesome car. Yeah, the GT500 I rented was fucking badass and a better car for sure. But GT500s, at least the S550s, are even still used in the low 80s, maybe upper 70s if you're willing to buy one with 20,000 or more miles. But if you want a lower mileage one, yeah, dude, you're paying 85 plus grand. You're basically paying MSRP still. So, you know, yeah, GT500, better car, surprise. But again, you're paying fucking almost 4 times what I paid for this car to get one. Like, you gotta have some deep pockets. So I'd say if you want one, if you want a 5.0, like, absolutely get it. It's a great car. It's been nothing but reliable to me other than the AC, but honestly, of all the issues that a car can have, an AC is like pretty, you know, low, like versus, you know, timing chain issues or like IMRC issues or like catastrophic engine failure or the transmission going out or, you know, anything serious like that. I've had no suspension issues, no transmission issues, no engine issues. The car's been great, and I have been beating the shit out of it ever since I bought it 43,000 miles ago. It's been awesome. But yeah, that's about my review. I'll roll the windows down. I say end it with a nice little pull with the windows down. Issues, the minor ones that I've had with this car, I do that, and guess what? I fucking forget about them because they really don't fucking matter when I hear that exhaust note. But yeah, hopefully this review helps to anyone who's been looking to get one. And yeah, take it easy.